never come back again. It's gotta get cursed. It's gotta get cursed. Drop.
Welcome into a brand new episode of the Death Curse Club. I am owner-operator of said establishment, Zach Hilton, and I'd like to welcome my co-host for today's event, the barkeep himself, Jim Zayas. What's up, Jim?
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna... Now, are you channeling your inner Ralph, or are you channeling your inner Bill Paxton?
I'm leaning more towards Ralph.
Okay, I can get into that. I'm going to lower this because I think it's weird that I have a t-shirt that has Beetlejuice, but like all you can see is the forehead. So we'll go lower it just so you can get an idea of what I'm wearing. And
it's like the pop of a Funko Pop box.
It kind of fucking is.
You just see the edge of the top of the head and you got to try to guess who it is.
I'm Batman. Yeah, what a wild episode we're going to have today, guys. We're going to get into those screencastings that we heard last week. We're going to get into the teaser trailers that dropped last night today. Well, today of recording. Then we have reviews for Dark Match on Shudder and Companion, which is in theater right now. Before we get into said things, this episode is brought to you by Frightmare. Frightmare presents Heartstopper on February, what we got here? February 14th and 15th. God damn it, I got to put on these cheaters. I didn't want to do it. February 14th and 15th, $15 cash, $20 card from 7 to 9. They're doing it. There's a $10 add-on for Extreme. All Love Will Be Lost. I talked to Mark about the event. Crazy. He has updated 3 rooms already unrecognizable from the previous season, 2024 season of Frightmare. He's already got 3 rooms redesigned, ready for you. So if you want to check out Frightmare, which is in Chesapeake, 1905 South Military Highway, Chesapeake, Virginia, 23320. Go check them out February 14th and 15th. Can't wait for 2025's Frightmare. Jim, you've been to Frightmare.
Yeah, I was there back at Christmas time.
How was their Christmas one? I didn't do the Christmas one. How was it?
Yeah, they were looking for you. I don't know where you were.
I love that now you're kind of like you're in the circle for me. So whenever you show up, they're looking for you. And what they don't know is you're my new like go man. You're the one who gets to review it. Though I am contemplating going to the Valentine's Day event.
Okay. I mean, I'm still somewhat undercover. I think there's only like 2 of them that recognize me at this point.
You're probably right. All right, let's get into this show. Oh, before we begin, follow us on Instagram, Threads, Death Curse Club. We have our own Spotify feed where you can listen and watch on Spotify, Death Curse Club. We're on YouTube, Death Curse Club, and on Facebook, Thrill Me Lounge. Check us all out on all them properties, baby. All right, so last night, did not see this coming. The rumors of M3Gan 2.0 trailer was going to come out on the Super Bowl. That's what all the hubbub on the internet was about. That being said, last night during the Grammys, they showed the poster, like, oh, no, that's Dark Match. There we go. That's Dark Match. This is M3Gan's poster, which came out online from Universal Pictures and Blumhouse. And then the teaser dropped during the Grammys. Jim, you watched said teaser, I suggest, yes?
Yes, I did.
My feeling from it, because I still think there's going to be an actual one, a Super Bowl one, or even connected to Hard Eyes. This one might be the one that comes with Hard Eyes. I loved it because this reminded me of old school teasers where it's like, we're not giving you the footage. We're going to make you get into the feels for this character. Oh, remember M3Gan? Well, she's back. The bitch is back. And that's how they put it there. They even use Chapel Rome's Feminine Nomenon as the song in the background, which I'm obsessed with that song anyways. So we get her little M3Gan dance in like silhouette form, and then she winks, miss me, all that jazz. So, what were your takeaways from this?
Yeah, it's 100% what a teaser trailer is supposed to be, which is just, hey, it's coming. That's it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything different Super Bowl wise. I mean, it's a 30-second spot, and that's what's generally expected for Super Bowl airings. Uh,
Okay, so you think we're just going to get the actual thing that we saw, maybe a
yeah,
shorter version.
yeah, we'll get more closer to release. It's not until summertime, so
Gotcha.
that'll be
Okay.
it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm excited for it. They must have a lot of faith in this movie to put it out in summer because the first one came out in January, which blew my mind.
Yeah,
Of how good it was, and then to have that kind of balls tactic to be like, okay, we're going to put this horror movie in summer, midsummer against temple movies. Like that's wild to me. So I'm fingers crossed for the M3Gan 2.0. I mean, we've met M3Gan 2.0.
we did.
I
He's around
met
here
him.
somewhere.
Oh yeah, you got the pop up there. Oh, sick. That's great. I have the same pop. I need to send it to Review It Rob. I got it for him because I just wanted the picture. And I mean, the girl was so nice. She's so
Oh
sweet.
yeah.
And I'm looking forward to this. All right. So the other teaser that dropped today, I wasn't expecting it, especially because they dropped the poster, was Final Destination Bloodlines. And the slogan for the movie, I believe, is "Death runs in the family." That's the slogan,
Yeah.
nothing else giving away. And then, what would you say about a minute and a half of a teaser?
I
Which
think it's a full 2 minutes.
is it? Well, it's full 2 minutes, but here's my problem with it. It's literally a scene, maybe a scene in a
Right.
movie, maybe not even in a movie, of this guy, a tattoo artist who's doing a tongue piercing on a lady. And we're seeing the whole scene. And like, it's that classic Final Destination scene where mousetrap, basically, where something falls, this thing goes, this thing's that. There's a fan up top with chains way too close, obviously, to it. Like, so much so, I feel like when I watched it, there was a couple of things running through my head. It was like everything's placed so the viewer is already knowing what's going to happen. And then on top of that, when I was watching it, all I can think of was if this didn't have scary music attached to it, this is just a day in Clark Griswold's life in Vacation.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong about that.
And I don't know. Like, I thought we were done with the Final Destination series, and now even knowing the slogan, "Death runs in the family." Like, what are your takeaways from that and the teaser?
Well, as far as the teaser goes, I mean, yeah, it's a full scene, and I would say it's probably in the movie because that's what they do now with a lot of
Mm-hmm.
modern horror trailers, which is let's just show everything. Let's show how everybody dies, so that when you're sitting there, you know it's coming. Like, oh, that's, and which is why don't watch a lot of the anymore.
Right, right.
Uh, as far as the bloodlines thing goes, I tried to zoom in a little bit on the dad to see who that was. I didn't recognize him when he's looking at the phone.
Oh, that's right. When he puts on his super dark, sad mix.
Yeah, and he puts it, and there's a picture of him and his dad, and who had just died. I think he had said.
Right.
Uh, I tried to see if I recognized the actor from one of the previous movies, maybe, but I didn't. I mean, it could be, but it's
It's wild because I would think you would want to go Bloodlines to like OG, like to
yeah,
Final Destination, because I feel like all movies, not just horror, but they love playing in the same like sandbox of the previous. You know what I mean? I mean, the
yeah.
Halloween series had Laurie's granddaughter in it, and I just feel this series. I thought they laid the rest not too long ago, and I'm not going to sit here and say they can't make a good movie because I look at the Saw franchise, and after Spiral, I was fucking done. And then I watched Saw 10 at home and was blown away of how good it was. So there is a chance this is a good movie. I'm not hankering for it. I think Tony Todd is in it.
I don't think he is.
He
I'm
was
not
on the
sure.
IMDb listing.
Was he? I mean, I
And
could ask somebody.
well, he could also have recorded anything. Hell, he could have given the rights to use his voice
Yeah,
likeness. But I'm apprehensive. I'll just say that this is definitely going to be one of those movies where I need an actual trailer, not the Clark Griswold cut, but I need a trailer to give me more story. And if I'm into it after that, you might get me to go to theater. But currently, right now, I'm waiting for streaming for this bad boy.
Yeah, I'll watch it, but I think
Mm-hmm.
I don't want another trailer because I think another trailer is going to be exactly what I just said, which is, hey, if you pay
Mm-hmm.
attention, you know who's going to die and when they're going to die because we're showing you.
Right.
Though, in realistic nature, that's what Final Destination is. I mean, it's all
Mm-hmm.
set up. You can really see once you start the scenarios, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be more of that. So if you like the franchise, I think you'll probably like the new one. If you don't like the franchise, you probably won't like the new one.
So I guess that's my thing. Are you a Final Destination
Yeah, I like
fan?
them. Yeah, I
Okay.
like them. I don't hate them. I like them. I'll watch it.
Right, right. And see, I enjoy the first one. I was fine with two. It never bothered me. Three, I was an actual fan of. Like, I thought that's the roller coaster one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that one I was a big fan of. And then after that, I had no interest going forward. Once they were leaning hard into the 3D and then they figured out their missteps, so then they made Final Destination, then they made the Final
Right.
Destination. Like, I was just whatever, guys. But
Two
we'll see
two
what this
Final
one does.
Destination, two or two Final two Destination.
Holy crap, I would absolutely love it. Two Final of a Destination. All right, so let's get into some the big topics we got here. We have last week. This blew my goddamn mind. I think all my friends were sending me this. You and me actually had a conversation, and you showed me some of the like review from the show. But Insidious: The Further You Fear was set to debut its world tour, and I even did the trailer reaction to this, and that got a lot of views. So it felt like this thing was on the road to be a kind of big live experience where they've advertised it like you're going to sit in the theater, you're going to see all these creatures, they're going to come up to you. It was going to be a very interactive theatrical experience, which I was all aboard on. And then they hit Detroit, and it almost comes off of, and maybe slightly better, but it reminded me of that scenario of that Willy Wonka experience that was overseas.
Mhm.
Like, it, from what I saw of the reviews, and this got traction at like Detroit's local news, and you can see these. So if you look them up, you can watch it yourself. But like, apparently, it wasn't what it was advertised. They had actors planted in the audience that were giving like their own personal experiences. You might see a ghost, you might see a silhouette of a ghost of some sort. It seemed very convoluted about like the ghost team talking to professors and stuff like that. I mean, it just sounded like a weird goddamn time. And at that moment, the next day, this thing was canceled. Like, they canceled it immediately. Jim, how does something that had some viewings before Detroit, it gets stopped in Detroit and then canceled? How does this happen?
Well, Detroit's not messing around. Detroit's gonna tell you if something's bad.
Yeah,
So they shut that thing down.
that's right.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens. It sound when you read what it's about and what they actually did, it sounds like something they threw together in a week and
That's what
just
I
was
was
like,
saying.
here it is. I don't know. It sounds like a high school put it together.
Yeah, it sounded when I originally looked at this from the aspect of the
Yeah.
story from Detroit, it made me remember of when Evil Dead the musical was going on tour, and the tour was just they would sell different theaters the right to put on said play, which I thought was pretty cool. And when you saw it, you would go to a local theater that obviously isn't Broadway esque, but like they did what they could have, because I remember the actual Broadway play having this blood, gore, splatter from like all the characters, but the way that they would do it when we saw it at the Little Theater in Norfolk,
Yeah.
They had the characters just like spraying you with blood, which I thought was kind of cute and obviously done on a dime. This sounds like how, like, it was almost that, like, were they really going on tour? And then to find out this was the cast, they were going place to place to do this. So this was supposed to be Broadway-esque. From what I hear, Blumhouse was producing this. So, like, how does it get past Jason Blum, like, when he's in that meeting of Insidious going into the further, when they're pitching and they go, yeah, it's people just talking about ghosts. And then that's it?
I think somebody pitched an idea to him. He said, "Yep, that's great. Let's roll with it." And then he went back to his 8,000 movies he's producing, and they pocketed 90% of that money and said, "We're just going to throw some people out there, talk some bullshit, and call it a day."
Yeah. And then, like, that kind of leads into my next thing I want to divulge to. But, hey, Blumhouse, are you okay? Like, at one point, Blumhouse was my favorite horror producer. And I think it was when maybe Halloween Kills. Because Halloween 2018, I was like, we're firing all cylinders here. Blumhouse is going to get IP and they're going to also work on originals. So I love that flair with them. And they have steadily got knocked the fuck down since Halloween Kills, which each iteration of a movie they come out with, they may pull up like a punch on something, i.e. Invisible Man, but then they get right hooked with the Wolfman, which no one likes. And even Blum himself tweeted out a picture of him looking out angry, being like, my face when I look at the Wolfman Returns. And then he deletes it. And then he thought he was fast enough because it's an article on news places now showing that picture and tweet. So, like, Jim, you know, in a world where we're getting A24 movies that are rockin' sockin', we're getting Neon movies that are rockin' sockin', and, you know, what we'll talk later, Companion, a Warner Brothers movie, it seems like they're forefronting horror as well. Like, has Blumhouse, are they losing something? Are they okay?
I think it's a difference of almost oversaturation where A24 still isn't getting the full wide release everywhere for every one of their movies. You can say the same thing about Neon not getting a full wide release with every single one of their movies.
Right.
Where Blumhouse used to be that, and now it's like, because they're a major name. We saw that with Lionsgate, you know, years ago, where when they really started kicking it off with the first Saw movie,
right,
and then it got to a point where, okay, they're the name that you know for horror, so now every little movie they produce gets released and gets out, put it on the theater. Not everything should be released and put out in the theater, unfortunately. It's just,
right,
you know, and so you're not going to have that. I actually like The Wolfman, but that's a whole nother conversation.
I think it's going to come into play when we talk into Dark Match later. I like Wolfman. We had a conversation and I was jesting around the greater less than, and I actually went back and flipped it back. But I think that is a different conversation where I do feel there was a time recently, not even that long ago, where Blum was putting out movies on Hulu. Like Huluween, we got a Blumhouse movie every week or something like that. Then I forget what it was called, but it was produced like right after COVID, and it was about, maybe it was called Sickness or something. I think Kevin Williamson wrote it. Yeah. Like, that was a Blumhouse, and that went straight to streaming. And it's interesting to me that we're being flooded with Blumhouse like it is this top tier, but, you know, your movie only made $29 million in January. Not to say M3Gan won't. M3Gan, like I said, is obviously getting that push, but I am afraid. I'm not going to lie to you. Blumhouse has scared me recently. So much so, going back to the Insidious, I didn't even know this, but until recently, which I talked about on the show, they had a movie coming out called Thread, an Insidious story coming out in summer. That got pushed a whole year after this announcement of the cancellation of the tour, and I think that had something to do with that. I think they're trying to get so far from the play that they need people to forget about it.
Maybe. I mean, though they also have Conjuring this year.
Yeah, but that's not a Blumhouse
Oh no,
movie.
that's not. Yeah, yeah. I always forget because
I know Patrick Wilson, that son of a bitch.
yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's just, they joined forces with Atomic Monster, and now they're one entity. And I love James Wan, but like, what are we doing here? Also, like the movie The Monkey that's coming out, that's produced by James Wan. Is that a part of the Blum Atomic Monster combined? Like, I don't know what we're doing.
Well, I don't know. Also remember the average moviegoer pays no attention to that stuff.
True, very true. Very true. If you're watching or listening to this, it's because you're more into it than the commonwealth of people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. All right, let's get into our next subject matter. This first started off with Scott Foley on the right, signed on to be in Scream 7. So recently we saw Joel McHale is coming into the franchise. We're getting the return of 2 out of the core 4 returning into this. They announced the I forget his name. It's one of the cousins of Randy's character. He's in Hard Eyes coming out. I forget his name, but he's coming back. So Scott Foley is coming back. But then, like an hour later or the next day, I can't remember, Matthew Lillard posts on his Instagram him writing the note of him saying, "My parents are going to be so upset with me or mad at me, whatever. Don't come at me, nerds." And then confirming that he himself has joined the cast of Scream 7. And it's funny because I think there's this world where Matthew Lillard coming back has always been this big thing. Like, I think their original Scream 3 was going to have him with the cult of Ghostface. I think the last Scream 6, the way they made the trailers seem, it seemed like a cult-like thing, and that's why Matthew Lillard was thought about, and obviously not the route we went. But when I look at the casting of Scott and Matthew in this, I don't think this is going to go the way people are expecting it. I think people are like, I told you he wasn't dead, but how does that make sense for Scott Foley? I think this is more of that dream sequence scenario, like in Scream 3, Sydney saw her mom as a ghost. 5 and 6, Sam saw Skeet Ulrich as a ghost. And I think they're just going to continue in that field of maybe Sydney is almost having a mental breakdown in seeing all the people that she's killed.
Well, yeah, because most of them are dead. I mean, there's no argument. I mean, you get a bullet to the
Yeah,
head.
like Matthew
There's
Lillard's the only one who had a TV on his head.
Right. Yeah, you can make an argument for he possibly could still be alive. Where the other was like the brother took a bullet to the head, and Skeet's
Yeah.
obviously dead. And
Right.
if you go into some of the other movies, they're going to be obviously dead.
Timothy Oliphant's dead.
Yeah.
The sister from Roseanne's dead.
Yeah, Laurie Metcalf. I think you would definitely have to be, like you said, that same dream sequence kind of vision thing. I would even think, and I'll just put it out there right now as a prediction spoiler, is that
Okay.
you have them appearing as visions in her, like she keeps seeing them like around the corner, showing up, watching her, and this and that, different ghost faces throughout her life.
Right.
And so that's what she has that breakdown. But then you're at the end will unveil that the Matthew Lillard one wasn't actually a vision or a ghost. He's actually there and has
Oh,
actually been killing
wow.
people.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So her seeing visions of these ghost face actions happening, but one of them actually is real, like almost in the
Yeah.
sense of Laurie Strode in H2O when that one time, like, she keeps seeing ghosts of
Yeah.
Michael, but like when he's walking down, she closes his eyes, opens up, still walking to it, which that was a Kevin Williamson movie that was
Yeah.
written by him. Yeah, I'm fascinated in the way we go with this because there was one hot take that I saw, which I didn't mind when I heard it, but they were like, "Fuck it, to honor Wes, make this a Wes Craven New Nightmare, where all of them are going to a con, everything's happening around them, and like Nev Campbell herself is freaking out and thinking one of these former Ghostface is actually doing it."
Well, we know we got who'd you say? Joe McHale's playing her husband,
Yeah.
and we do have somebody playing her daughter.
Oh yeah. I think it's no, not the daughter, but Grace McKenna.
Oh, McKenna Grace.
Grace.
It's somebody
She's
else.
in it. Yeah, but somebody else is playing the daughter.
I think I did see, or and this may just been a rumor that the daughter's name is Tatum
Yeah. Tatum is
Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan. Huh. Scream
So,
7,
that was her friend.
Bloodlines. Scream
Well, that
7.
was her.
I know. I'm just joking. Scream 7.
She named it after her
Bloodlines.
friend,
That's
her dead
cute.
friend.
I like that. And it's wild to me because I think it's funny watching this series because I'm rooting for it. Granted, I am not a fan of 4, 5, and 6. I am not a fan of these movies. With Part 6, I'm a little bit better with, but I still think there are major fucking flaws in this franchise. But, like, I think this movie has such a uphill fight with the fandom. Bringing these guys in was a smart move. It's not the same thing in how the internet wants to treat it of like, oh, the only reason why we brought Robert Downey Jr. back to Marvel is because we didn't know what we were doing. It does kind of have that feel to it. It's like, Sam's not in the movie because the producers didn't want her there. Jenna Ortega is moved on because she's a bigger star, and if you're not going to make the movie about her, why would she want to come back into the supporting role? I totally get that. But it's funny to me how 5 and 6 have a nice wrap up with the Sam and Ortega's character, Melissa and Ortega's character, where coming back to Sid makes sense to me. There is one theory that I have that I don't think they'll do, obviously, because it's kind of a fucking bummer, and I don't think the series is bold enough for it. What if Sid is going crazy and killing these people?
Yeah, I don't think they'll go that way, like
What do
you
you
just said, just because, like you said, it's too much of a bummer. They're not going to go
Too
that
much of a
route.
bummer.
As much as people want,
Right.
they say they want that kind of thing, the general audience won't want it. And at the end of the day, you got to make the
Right.
general audience happy. It's not the internet people
For sure.
or that are obsessed because they're the ones that are going to complain about it no matter what.
Well, the only reason why I would even bring it into the air, and because Scream is the meta of horror movies. What is the one thing that has happened in these slasher movies in other franchises that they've never done and they were willing to pull the fucking trigger? And this one is making another person the killer. So, i.e., Friday the 13th, like Part 5, should have been Tommy Jarvis as the killer. And they didn't want to pull the trigger on Tommy being the bad guy. So they retconned it. Halloween, Jamie Lloyd is supposed to be the killer moving forward. They didn't want to pull the trigger. I think it would be so apropos meta for the horror films themselves if the star of your movie became the killer and like went crazy, especially with how grounded the Scream franchise is. Grounded in the sense of like it dealt in real world, no supernatural forces. I would be taken fucking aback if they were able to do that.
Sure, you and I would be, and I think a lot of the horror, and again, a lot of like horror obsessed people might be, but your mainstream audiences wanted Jason Voorhees. Mainstream audiences wanted Michael Myers. Just
Fair.
like mainstream audiences want Sydney to be the final girl killing Ghostface.
Well, what if that's actually the plot of it? What if it's the entire time people are starting to, like, it's being framed as Sydney, and then like Matthew Lillard does show, will Matthew Lillard make you upset if he is alive, burnt fucking face, and he's like, everybody wants the real killer. I'm the real fucking killer. I'm
That's
the
fine.
I'm the one that sent fucking Jack Quaid all the info on Sam. I'm the one who sent his family to come after, but now I need to come after you because I got to kill what started.
I have the infinity knife. I'm killing everybody now.
Yeah, the infinity knife. I would absolutely love it. I think it would be a barn burner. What say you? What do you think about these Scream people coming back, baby? So, and we didn't even talk about Scott Foley. Well, I guess we did with the ghosts. So, do you think we get any other ghosts?
Depends on how busy everybody is and whether or not
Right.
they're even interested in coming back.
Like Timothy Oliphant would be a fucking get. Like, can
Sure.
we get him off a Mandalorian set in time to do one of these?
I mean, I don't even know if he's on the Mandalorian set. I mean, he kind of got killed and sort of brought back.
Spoilers.
It's not spoilers. Like 4 years ago.
True. Very true. Yeah, no, I would like it more. I would love more. Give me more. I want all the Ghostface. I want them, and I don't want CGI down. I think it would be very cool if we go the ghost route of like she looks and there's Matthew Lillard, looks back and it's not Matthew Lillard. I think
I was gonna say, I think this again, going back to my prediction, I think the Scott Foley announcement was a red herring. I mean, he'll be in it, but it's to say, hey, look, we're bringing this other Ghostface killer back who's dead. So when we announce Matthew Lillard, oh, they're all ghosts.
Okay, that's slick.
Where if you just announce Matthew Lillard, people automatically are going to go, oh, he's still alive.
Oh, he's alive and going to go kill them. Fair enough. I'm into it. If he ends up being alive, I have no qualm with it. I think there was something with 5 and 6 with those rumors running around because, again, I've said this. Those rumors have been around since Scream 3. So I think because there's been enough gotchas, like it wasn't him. If he comes back this time, there's no skin off the game. There's nothing. I actually think it would help the franchise if that happens. So, and I think this should be the death, honestly. I think after this, reboot it. Don't fucking reboot it like MTV. Don't do that. But and don't do it like how BET took it. Don't do that. I'm saying full on reboot it because we need to, almost how 5 did, where they wanted to elevate horror, but they really never talked about elevation horror. I think we need to go that route with it.
You need to kill Sydney.
You have to kill Sydney.
As long as she's alive, people are going to want her back.
Well, does she die in this?
Yeah, if you're going to try to really reboot the franchise, you have to, because you can't reboot it while she's alive unless you're going to keep bringing her back, and then you're not truly rebooting it.
True. No, you're very fair with that. If I had what I would want in this movie, I think the first kill should be Courtney Cox, and then she dies at the end as well. And her death can be a sacrifice. It doesn't have to be Ghostface Goddard. She can stop Ghostface and go too.
Yeah, she can kill her, or she can save her daughter.
I'm good with it. Save her. Save Tatum. We got to save the Tatum, save the world. All right, let's get into some movie reviews. We'll start with this one right here. You saw the picture earlier, and I'm going to bring it down. Deathmatch, a Shudder joint, hit the streams this past weekend, and it's about a group of wrestlers going to a religious camp to put on one of their shows, and all things go crazy when every goddamn stipulation match happens. And hopefully this hell being is released into the world in their eyes, and all we can get are these wrestlers trying to save their own lives and not have apocalypse now. That's the gist of the movie, and Chris Jericho's there. my takeaway from this movie, I got to be honest with you. I did the trailer reaction on this channel, and I was looking forward to it from a wrestling standpoint because I've said on that, and everybody who knows or doesn't, I used to pro wrestle. So when movies come out and they want to do the wrestling world, those are the ones that I get a little more fixated in the behind the scenes aspects. And what's wild about this, I think this nailed the behind the scenes aspects of heels and faces and not traveling together and stuff like that. I think it nailed that kind of stuff. I like the acting in this movie. For some reason, this caught me off guard because, again, I mean, B-level, C-level horror movies go straight to streaming. And I really loved everybody in this movie, minus Chris Jericho, just being Chris Jericho. And he doesn't take away from the film. He does. I was talking to Joey, and we were texting back and forth, and I named, like, if you wanted a wrestler, you could have gotten this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And I think they would have been more fit for this role, especially since they were advertising it, WWE's Chris Jericho, which is wild. But the acting, like, I was like, God damn, they brought A games, everybody. The little behind the scenes stuff, some of the gore looked pretty rad. Far-fetchedness of, you know, the 5 matches that happen: water, air, earth, wind, fire, go planet. And then the ending, without spoiling it, I was like, okay, well, they delivered on what they said they were going to do. And I'm not going to lie to you, the way the movie ends, I feel like it could get a sequel, and I would watch it. Do I think this is like an own movie? Like, am I going to buy the Blu-ray? No. Will I watch it to prepare for Deathmatch 2 or Dark Match 2? Yes, I will. But for me, watchable movie, which I was completely shocked about. How about you?
I didn't like it.
I
think the setup was interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I do agree the acting was good. You talk about there's so many things I did not like about this movie to the point where I didn't even care. So I won't even say I hated it because it didn't generate enough of an emotion in me to even hate it.
Right.
The gimmicks of the matches were pointless.
Yes.
There was no reason for them to be there.
Right.
There was too much. I mean, I don't need everything explained to me, but there was just too many holes in there of, like, at what point did we talk about this? Why do some of these people know what's going on and others don't, and why are they going along with it?
You're talking about the faces.
Yeah.
Because the way that the movie portrays it, and I don't think this is a huge spoiler because it's kind of given up in the beginning of the movie, but the way in the 80s, they wanted to keep good guy wrestlers away from bad guy wrestlers. So the bad guys would travel with fellow bad guys, good guys. I liked that idea. But what we did not see in the movie is the good guys who got there earlier were already aware of everything and they were on board with what was going on. Basically is what happened.
Yeah. I think there could have been a better script, essentially. I think the acting was good. I think, like you said, the gore was good. And there was, like, these dream sequences that were pointless.
Yeah.
Like we were fluffing runtime for some reason.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do get the setup for a sequel final shot, but could we have come up with a better final line? Like something that sounded actually badass or something, not just like you got me or whatever the hell it was.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
That's fair. And honest to God, I can understand someone not liking it. And again, you saw this first. Joey watched it. And both of you basically, like, I already had here expectations. When I was done talking to both of you, my expectations were there. So for me, just throwing it on, I enjoyed. Again, it's not going to be in my top 30. Not going to be in my top 40. Probably not top 50. But from some of the shit that I've seen Shudder put out, or Screambox, or any of these fucking streaming, even like Netflix type movies, it wasn't bad to me. let's move to our next movie, and we got to be delicate with this because it is opening weekend that just passed. So what I am going to do, I'm going to give a non-spoiler review and then slight spoilers review after that. I'll let you know. So if you just want to hear non-spoiler, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Death Curse Club on everything. Jim's going to look. Jim never gets to plug anything, but Jim is going to be on Core Memory Unlocked Horror next week for our inaugural Friday the 13th episode, which is funny because it's going to drop at 11:59 on the 13th of February. So that's for you guys. Jim will be there. But if you want the non-spoiler, we'll do that. I'll give you some seconds to leave, and then it's spoiler-ish because I still don't want to spoil too much. Our next movie is Companion. This is Warner Brothers joint, stars Jack Quaid, and it is about a couple that go to a lodging to have a weekend getaway. And that's just the premise I'm going to put out there, that without, if you don't know anything about this, because the first teaser was real effed up. I mean, the teaser that, Jim, I'm sure you've seen is just like Jack Quaid's at a dinner table, a dinner's being made. They're even saying from the studio that brought you The Notebook, like giving you this romantic feel. And then you just see this girl like burning her hand. She's locked to a chair, burning her hand. Real fucked up shit. So I wasn't, oh, sorry. There was one more thing in the trailer. What didn't sell me, and I'm okay with saying this. From the twisted minds that brought you Barbarian. Go fuck yourself, because fuck Barbarian. I like the movie. This flagpole that Barbarian's the best fucking movie, get out of here. Especially in a world, really quickly, in a world where we live in, where Terrifier 3 just absolutely took the horror world by storm with its gore, its craziness, its run. To sit here and act like Barbarian is that level of like mind fuckery or gory, fuck out of here. All right, that's all I had to say for that. But so anyways, my non-spoiler review, I think the cast in this, because it's one of my favorite things in horror movies and going to a theatrical experience, is minimal cast, not a lot of people in this, minimal settings. There's like 3 different places in this, and really confined, well acted. I was behind every single goddamn character in this movie, and I was rooting for the main heroine, whatever you want to say. And I thought this was just a fun ride from beginning to end. I did watch the second trailer, which I understand why you didn't. I needed that second trailer. I am a trailer guy, but I needed it to get the tone of the movie, and the tone is up my aisle, which is dark comedy / horror. And I thought they did this oh so well. I would say go see this in theater. I would actually say, for if you aren't a big fan of horror films, but your significant other is, I think this is the one movie that you could go to where I think both would be satisfied.
Yeah, I think it's really good. Like you said, all the characters are great. The setting's great. Mm-hmm. The tone was perfect for what it's supposed to be. I only saw the teaser, so I knew absolutely nothing going in. That's the best way for me, and I think if you can do it, it helps. I think like the balance of the comedic horror tone was perfect. The story was interesting. I think it's something you could show to somebody who's not 100% interested in horror. I found it to be believable within the confines of the world you're given.
I do think I agree with you that everything that we were fed was believable, because for some reason, and usually I don't want to be this guy, I try to like shut my mind off, but in Dark Match kind of had that problem of like, okay, you're going to give me information about the thing, like the ride I'm going on, and I'm going to try to figure out how this doesn't work. I don't like doing that. For some reason, that turned on while watching this movie. Beat me every time because I would come up with a question and then it actually gets solved later on in the movie. And I thought that was a fun ride to go on. And I think it's a 90-minute movie. It's in, it's out. It doesn't hang around too long. I think it's a fun ride. And again, as I said earlier, I think this is, if someone is not a big fan of horror, this has minimal gore. It has minimal jump scenes. It's a good time, but still have those things. I'm not saying they're not in the movie. It's just enough where, the twisted minds of Barbarian would love to push those limits. So you would say see in theater?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I'd say see in theater, and I'm going to give you 5 seconds to go off because we're going to give a little spoily here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the second trailer does give you that she's a robot.
Oh, okay.
I already kind of knew she felt like a fembot almost. I mean, from looking at the first teaser. But what the second teaser or trailer does so well is give you the little comedy aspects. Like I remember the bit of her leaving the house running and the boyfriend's looking at the other boyfriend. I'm on the phone, honey. Like, that's the kind of stuff I needed to sell me. Like, okay, I think this is fun because it's up my alley with comedy and horror, which is practically my favorite genre. So yes, the story of this is she is a robot, and I'm not going to give the reasons why and everything goes down. The story they give you is not what they sell in even that second trailer. Because when we were going for that ride, I was like, oh, I like where this is leading. I like that this is the path they went down, because I thought, again, spoilers, if you don't fucking want them, don't listen. I thought this was going to be, she just became aware that she was a robot and wanted to be out of the situation. You know what I mean? Kind of like Ex Machina. Right. But the fact that there is a plot that they don't even sell in the trailer, I thought that was genius. Like they were able to do the layers without giving that away. So there are some things you get to go home with that weren't in the advertising. I think Jack Quaid, as much as I love him, I'm done with him playing a bad guy. I get that, like, he's a kind of good guy on The Boys, and he's that kind of like, like he's got Novocaine coming out, which looks wild, where he's a good guy. I'm just done with him being a bad guy because I feel like he's topped off the same type of bad guy that he plays. Yeah.
It's that I'm a good guy. No, not really. I'm a bad guy.
Right. Like, I'm done with your normal schmo attitude about it. I love the main actress. I thought this movie gives me Ready or Not vibes.
And, yeah, I thought the same thing earlier when you were talking.
Right. And I think that's one of my favorite things. I think this was well done. I think the whole team, I think the writer, director, who did not write or direct Barbarian, I thought he did, because I think he's worked on romantic movies, like whether it be Hallmark or, little ones. Like, this was his first like horror dive into, and I thought he did a phenomenal job. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, I want to see the next thing he does, because I think he really understood the assignment on this, if that makes sense. It's not like the Barbarian guy who knows horror inside and out. It's more like, I'm glad he was able to mess with the genre while moving forward.
Yeah, because we've gotten a lot of killer robot movies throughout the years, and
right.
This movie does feel very different, very original.
Right. And my final spoiler, which I kind of loved, and I want to know if you felt the same way. When the final spoiler, don't want it, stop listening. She takes a shower, that hand that gets burnt in the trailer, she's washing her body, and you can see her skin crumbling, and she rips it off, so you see the skeleton. I was like, is this a Terminator 2 what is it called? Homage. a Terminator 2 homage because it looks like a Terminator 2 when he rips off the skin and does the thing.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you know, her and Megan are going to team up in Megan 3.
Oh, if we are not getting M3Gan Companion versus Chucky, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing. Like, I need the team up movie. This is what I'm hankering for.
We'll throw the Puniverse in there too.
You're never coming on again. Thanks for watching, listening. We're on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. All different names, obviously. Death Curse Club on Spotify and YouTube. Throw Me Lounge on Facebook. If you want to check that out, we're on Instagram and Threads. What did you think of Companion? What do you think of Dark Match? Let us know in the comments. Please rate, review, like, share, comment, do all the things. We're trying to get into the algorithm. The algorithm is fighting us, and I don't want to fight the algorithm. I just want to be in people's ears. Let them know we're out there. Jim, plug what you're going to be on.
Support the Puniverse.
God damn it. No, don't support the Pooverse. Check out Jim next week on Core Memory Unlocked Horror, where we will be discussing Friday the 13th. That is on Thrill Me Retro Channel. Almost said the old name. Thrill Me Retro Channel. Check that out. Good times. Jim, thanks for coming on. And we'll
Anytime.
Yeah, man. And we'll catch you next time. Spook you later.
Come back again. It's time again. Curse.